Hey everyone, I know it's been a while since I uploaded my last video, but don't worry, I'm still alive and I have actually started working on my next major video game project. I mean like putting up on Steam major or hiring artists for the visual and the music major. But before I dive deeper into the game, I want to quickly share my thoughts regarding my videos and where I want to take this channel next. I love watching videos where the objective is to solve a hard problem for no other reason than to have fun and challenge yourself. Channels like Sebastian Log or Stuff Made Here are great examples of people that make videos like that. So, when I had a bunch of hey, could I do this type of challenges in my mind, it was fun creating these videos. But once I exhausted all the current ideas, making more of these types of videos started to become a chore. I will still tackle any challenge that comes my way as long as it is fun, but for now it's time to switch gears. To this day, one of my most proud achievements is Metallophobia. The pixel art work is bad because it was made by me, but I still stand by the game. I think it is fun, and if roguelike shooters are your vibe, you should check it out on Steam. But back when I started working on Metallophobia, it was honestly a stupid idea. As a self-taught software developer, all I ever did were a couple Hello World Unity tutorials and a Twitter bot that tweeted pictures of cats. And here I was trying to code a complete video game. But the fact that I was able to create a playable game from a software development standpoint where my skills were nowhere near where they are today should be an inspiration for everyone. So if you've been thinking about making a game but you think that you don't have what it takes, I can confidently tell you that modern computers are strong enough to run your unoptimized junk code at 60 FPS. Well, Metallophobia was almost 3 years ago, and with all these lessons learned, I am ready to make my next video game. So what is the game? Well, a couple months ago I was really enjoying Brotato. And if you think about it, the whole gameplay of Brotato is stupidly simple. You're literally in a square area shooting down some basic enemies that just run at you. But the game is ridiculously fun, because the fun part is how you defeat those enemies, all the wacky, crazy, broken builds you can create. And another game I like is Slay the Spire. So I thought, what if I make a card game where each card is an action your player can take, and your goal is to defeat these waves of enemies in a Brotato-like fashion. And I actually wanted to optimize Unity to the point where I could have tens of thousands of enemies, sort of like Vampire Survivors, which gave birth to this video. But as you might have noticed, there are no other videos about this game. In fact, this is the first time I am mentioning it, and the only time I am mentioning it since I realized there's a fundamental reason why this game doesn't work. Card games such as Slay the Spire or Hearthstone are all about thinking, strategizing, and doing the optimal move. And you can't really do that when you're trying to kite thousands of enemies, dodging their abilities, etc. It's just a huge clash where Brotato is all about running around and shooting mindlessly and letting your build do its thing, whereas Slay the Spire is more so you have your build, but you also need to execute it perfectly. And so, until I can find a satisfying solution to this problem, sadly, Game-2-2 will rest in Project Graveyard. Right, so combining Slay the Spire, some of Clash Royale and Brotato didn't work. But I continued on the mantra of Pablo Picasso's good artists borrow, great artists steal quote, with two other games that I've been really enjoying lately, Super Auto Pets and Balatro. And still Slay the Spire. I guess in a game design way, you can imagine this game as like a Super Auto Pets but vertical, but instead of animals you have cards. The general idea is there'll be classes, each with their basic decks and combinations, there'll be shopping and battling sequences like any other auto-battler type of game, and the battles will be async multiplayer. So essentially I'll store the states of different players at different rounds and you will match with them depending on how well you're doing, the same way how Backpack Battles or Super Auto Pets work. This will probably be one of the largest chunks of the game, and I am excited to use my web development skills together with my game dev skills for once, but let's table that away for now. The battles will happen automatically. You'll be able to change the game speed and both players will play their decks out until the game ends in repetition. So there are three big phases of this game's development progress. First is the card battle, aka putting in place all the mechanics that cards and the items and the power-ups and whatever else will interact with each other. And the second one is the shopping phase, as well as the items in the shop, so you can think of this phase as like me fleshing out the game. With all those mechanics that I've created in the first phase, now I will create tons of cards and items and whatever else, so that people can create meaningful and fun builds, with a lot of variety as possible. And finally, the async multiplayer and the online battling architecture. So this will be about the matchmaking in a fair way and battling for victory. And so where am I in this process? I would say I'm about 30% done phase 1. I've created the general playing structure, and for now the players just start with the default decks. I have implemented effects such as stuns, poisons, or permanent effects such as powers in Slay the Spire. some mechanics such as cards that do things when they're discarded or when they're played, player stats such as armor, lifesteal, dodge. But then as I was adding more and more mechanics, I've stumbled upon this issue which I also had in the previous card game that I just showed. This would be a problem in any game where the timing is important, but at the same time you want to sometimes pause the game down and show an effect or a visual or animation. You need to have a satisfying way to pause the game. And in a game like Hearthstone or Super Auto Pets, when it is turn-based, it's less of a problem since everybody will take their turn anyway, so you're not really taking anything away. But imagine in my game, where the cards are being continuously cast, if one player is constantly pausing the game for cards, you don't really want the other player to just be standing there not being able to cast anything. So for now, I have this animation running state in the game manager, so whenever that's true, all the effect ticks stop, all the card casting stops, and the whole game pauses, letting the player understand what is the card doing, and once the animation is done, the game continues back. And I am not fully sold out on this idea yet, I might change it later, but I think for now it's holding out really well. And as much as I tell myself I should focus on the mechanics and the art will come later, I just can't keep my motivation and excitement of a game when it looks like this. So I spent a couple of hours and drew a better card art, which wasn't even that much better, but this was a good reminder that what I'm doing right now is not to create a completely fleshed out game, but more so bring an idea to life and take your guys' opinions about it. So please drop your comments, concerns and ideas down below. Your comment will actually have a big impact on the direction the development of this game will take. Well, so what's next? Once the phase 2 is complete, which means we'll have a shopping phase with lots of cards and items and lots of viable builds, I am actually thinking about generating some builds myself, whether that would be from playtesting or a script that creates random builds, so that the players would have something to battle their decks against. And then once that's done, I will let people playtest, see how they like the game, before I move on to phase 3, where I'll actually implement the multiplayer structure, because I feel like if no one wants to play the game, this multiplayer structure will not work anyways. What do you think? Would you be interested in that? If there's at least some interest in this, I will make sure to have this game up on Steam earlier so I can get some playtesters there. Anyways, hope you liked this video. I will definitely make another update about this game as soon as I have more stuff to share. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.